war, we desperately needed to replenish the workforce. Our amazing new NHS, created by Labour's Clem Attlee, was already struggling to keep up with the demand, and other public services found themselves in similar situations. Just as it had during the war, the cry went out to the Commonwealth, and thousands answered the call and came to Britain. They came largely to work in our public services and transport systems. My mum was a nurse, my dad was a bus driver, my stepdad was a bus driver, my uncle worked on the trains. The work was often thankless, and it's only since I've been an adult that my mum's told me about the abuse that she used to get, both from patients and from other staff at the NHS. My mum shared the embarrassment of many from that generation. She's a proud woman, she is a proud woman, and so couldn't bring herself to admit to the folks back home that her dream trip to the motherland had turned into a nightmare. The stiff upper lip and desire to carry on in the face of adversity showed just how British this generation of people were. They kept their noses down and they tried to sing the Lord's song in a strange land. Some 50 years later, some of those same people found themselves swept up in the Tory government's attempt to create a hostile environment to people it deems illegal. Over 5,000 of them were denied access to public funds, benefits or services, while another 164 were sent back to the Caribbean, many of whom had not been there since leaving as children, decades ago. By the time the government accepted it had made a mistake, some of those wrongly deported had died. The government apologised and created a compensation fund to pay out those who had been negatively impacted by the fiasco. So far, though, only about 3% of those who have applied, who are eligible, have applied to the government. And the government recently extended the scheme for 2 years to give them more time. What happened to this generation was a national scandal, and it's to the former Prime Minister's credit that in 2018 she commissioned the Wendy Williams report, a lessons learned report into the Windrush scandal. Unfortunately, before this report is out, the Home Office has started with the deportation flights again to countries like Jamaica and Pakistan. Last month, a charter plane was hired to deport 45 people to Jamaica. Our Prime Minister, in a move that would have delighted his base, said that those deported were hardened criminals and that he was doing it to keep Britain safe. In reality, the men due for deportation had committed a range of crimes. Most had served their time. Many of those facing deportation were groomed into criminality as children here in Britain. If we broke them, it's our responsibility to fix them. Battersea resident Tej Thompson was among those to be deported. He'd come to the UK at 5 years old, and he's now in his mid-20s. Fortunately, a court ruling found that some of the men had not been allowed access to their legal support, and Tej was among the 27 men whose deportation was deferred. It's important that Britain's communities of colour know that they belong, and know that their contribution to our nation is acknowledged. The threat of being ripped from the world that they know and sent to a country they have little or no dealings with since childhood is terrifying to many. Domestic violence charity Sister Space recently found that Black and Asian victims when we're desperately trying to show certain communities that they have a future here and that their lives are not hopeless, the resumption of these deportation flights is very unwelcome. Politicians of all hues like to talk about how open and welcoming they want London and Wandsworth to be. But when it comes to standing up for our black communities, there's a deathly silence. Southwark has declared itself a sanctuary borough for migrants. Lambeth has written to residents making sure they're aware of the compensation and support. Wandsworth has done nothing. Wandsworth must be better.